Welcome back. We are live.
Yay! Sorry it's been so long. I've been a little bit under the weather. I am old new dude. He is.
Richard York, Asher's trueborn son.
Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to the girl Nettles. Last night we were on her channel with a live debate in preparation for Ice and Fire Con. Um, Even though I did not like the sides that I was on, I did the best I could and I had a blast. Um, a little funny story that happened last night. My wife gets up at 2:30 in the morning to go to work. At 10 till 8, she pokes her head in the garage and gives me the meanest side eye I've ever had in my life. And
Uh-oh.
at that moment, Lizzie is talking about Cersei and Jamie's relationship in very bold words. And my wife has no idea what's going on in this story. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to hear about that this afternoon when she gets home. Um, like, what the hell are you reading? What are you part of? So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay.
uh, yeah, it was fun. But I had a blast last night. Lizzie, Lady Thistle was there. The Green Bard did an excellent job last night. I mean, Lizzie, Charles, they were on point. We almost tied, but we lost. So
Well, this is my
hey,
bad
no,
about the
no,
princess.
that you're fine. She'll get over it. She's been with me 29 years. She'll put up with me another couple. Um, this is a Clash of Kings Danny 2. Uh, if you've seen any of these videos, you know we start with the brains of the operation, which is Richard. He will say what he saw in the chapter, and then I'll jump in with my stupid stuff. So take
Thank
it
you,
away,
sir.
Richard.
Danny arrives in Carth and learns of Robert's death from Kahura Mo, captain of Cinderland. On the walls of Carth, men beat gongs to herald her coming, while others blew curious horns that encircled their bodies like great bronze snakes. A column of camelry emerged from the city as her honor guards. The riders wore scaled copper armor and snouted helms with copper tusks and long black silk plumes, and sat high on saddles inlaid with rubies and garnets. Their camels were dressed in blankets of 100 different hues. Karth is the greatest city that ever was or ever will be, Pyat told her, back amongst the bones of face Teloro. It is the center of the world, the gate between north and south, the bridge between east and west, ancient beyond memory of man, and so magnificent that Sothos the Wise put out his eyes after gazing upon Karth for the first time, because he knew that all he saw thereafter should look squalid and ugly by comparison. Then he took the warlock's words well salted, but the magnificence of the great city was not to be denied. Three thick walls encircled Karth, elaborately carved. The outer was red sandstone, 30 feet high and decorated with animals, snakes slithering, kites flying, fish swimming, intermingled with wolves of the red waste, and striped zorses and monstrous elephants. The middle wall, 40 feet high, was gray granite, alive with scenes of war. The clash of sword and shield and spear, arrows in flight, heroes at battle, and babes being butchered, pyres of the dead. The innermost wall was 50 feet of black marble, with carvings that made Dany blush until she told herself that she was being a fool. She was no maid. If she could look on the gray wall scenes of slaughter, why should she avert her eyes from the sight of men and women giving pleasure to one another? The outer gates were banded with copper, the middle with iron, the innermost were studded with golden eyes. All opened at Dany's approach. As she rode her silver into the city, small children rushed out to scatter flowers in her path. They wore golden sandals and bright paint, no more. All the colors that had been missing from base Teloro had found their way to Karth. Buildings crowded about her, fantastical as a fever dream in shades of rose, violet, and umber. She passed under a bronze arch fashioned in the likeness of two snakes mating, their scales delicate flakes of jade, obsidian, and lapis lazuli. Slim towers stood taller than any Dany had ever seen, and elaborate fountains filled every square, wrought in the shapes of griffins and dragons and manticores. So some have speculated these walls might indicate a shrinking city, but I'm not completely sold because Winterfell has this taller inner wall, so it seems like it's by design that the inner walls are sturdier and taller as a so I don't know I'm not sure if I quite buy that. I
Yeah.
find it interesting when it talks about it talks about all of them opened. It almost sounds like all of the eyes opened, right? It's saying all three gates opened,
Right.
but it almost sounds like all the eyes opened upon the arrival of the mother of dragons, so as if bringing the dragons back has opened all the third eyes and all this stuff, right?
Right. Sir Dazilla, hey man, I don't know if you got to catch the live stream last night, but it's on the Girl Nettles YouTube channel. We did a live stream debate practice for Ice and Fire Con and the sigils. Normally, I set up in front of the house start, but it was pointed to me last night that with the garage opener, it blocks my face with the light, so I had to shift down to House Tully and Heron. So, but yeah, uh, I love my banners. But thank you for joining us. Sorry it took me a couple of days. Like I said, I've been feeling under the weather, but we appreciate you joining in though. Oh,
It's
also the inner wall being black marble. Could it be something other than black marble?
yeah,
Could it
maybe
be
it is
polished?
really black stone. Yeah, it could be
Yeah,
really
yeah.
black
Could
stone.
be polished black stone.
Yeah, maybe.
And then the walls kind of remind me of the Three Little Pigs.
Right, right. Yeah, and we've commented on them a few times, right?
Yeah,
And that he seems to have references to Three Little Pigs. And then the something else I was going to say. Oh yeah, I mean it's a statement about how crazy it is that we tend to allow children to look at violence and the destruction of people and not the creation of people, right?
right.
They were tall, pale folk in linen and samite and tiger fur, everyone a lord or lady to her eyes. The women wore gowns that left one breast bare, while the men favored beaded silk silk skirts. The gowns show us Quaithe has at least one perfect breast, implying great beauty, hinting that perhaps it is Shara Dane and the mother goddess. And in the last episode, Lizzie complained when Keith claimed the sex was unnecessary. So for the record, this does serve a purpose. Plus it's sexy, which, as Lizzie pointed out, is not nothing.
There you go. I mean, who can complain about a perfect breast?
They passed through a bazaar in a cavernous building whose latticework ceiling was home to 1,000 gaily colored birds. So Casey always likes to know whenever there's birds watching.
Yep.
Somebody's commenting. What was that? What was I listening to recently? Where they were talking about Euron and people talk about the dusky woman. Edward Martin says, as I enter the scene, I'm seen by all beings and fiends. Maybe
Friends.
friends. What's up, brothers?
Hey.
Came by on my break. Say hi and give my support to two awesome guys. Thanks a lot, Edward.
And James, I know you're extremely hardworking man and do your 40 hours in 4 days. So I really appreciate you jumping in, man. So take care.
So one of the things that was pointed out was that the dusky woman's not the only thing that Euron gives to Victarion. He actually gives. Oh, I think it was Girls Gone Canon. Probably they're doing Victarion, I think. Anyway. Yeah, you're awesome, James. Anyway, so one of the things that he gives Victarion is a bunch of ravens.
Ooh.
Always, my man.
I didn't even remember that on the Ravens.
Yeah, I didn't either. I'd forgotten that. So yeah, it's an interesting concept that he's giving them all these ravens to help spy on them.
Now, does he give the Ravens for communication, or
he tells them they are, but he never. But Victarion
never sends them?
He even says, "I'm not going to let them know what's going on." And it's like it's funny because he actually knows what's going on because the ravens are there, right? And he's like, "I'm not going to let them know what's going on." It's like, no, you're letting them know what's going on by not sending the ravens.
There you go. Yeah. Euron doesn't need him to send the ravens.
Right. Anyway, her silver shied as the merchant prince Zaros Owen Daxos rode up to her. The horses could not abide the close presence of camels she had found. So this, of course, this is arguably a skin changer animal being a little bit perturbed at the presence of Zaros Owen Daxos, but Horses' reactions to camels and elephants are kind of important to notice. I never really paid much attention to that, but and I don't agree with everything Preston's doing with his fan fiction, but I do love his recent chapter, John 2. Beneath the gold, the bitter steel. Anyway, it's a pretty rousing chapter.
I have never read any fan fiction whatsoever.
If you see here anything that you would desire, O most beautiful of women, you have only to speak, and it is yours. Zara called down from his ornate horn saddle. Karth itself is hers. She has no need of baubles, blue-lipped piet priest sang out from her other side. It shall be as I promised, Khaleesi. Come with me to the house of the Undying, and you shall drink of truth and wisdom. Why should she need your palace of dust when I can give her sunlight and sweet water and silks to sleep in? Zaro said to the warlock. The 13 shall set a crown of black jade and fire opals upon her lovely head. The only palace I desire is the Red Castle at King's Landing, my lord Piet. Dany was wary of the warlock. The magi Miri Mazdur had soured her on those who played at sorcery. And if the great of Karth would give me gifts, Zaro, let them give me ships and swords to win back what is rightfully mine. Black and fire are the colors of her house, but these two will regret their lack of assistance. Piet Priest's gifts will turn to dust in your hands, I warn you. He gave his camel a lick of his whip and sped away. The crow calls the raven black, muttered Sir Jorah in the common tongue of Westeros. Jorah always has the best lines, and yes, we do know that he is a creep.
Extremely. I had something that popped in my head. The
Yeah.
warlocks that she meets that are just almost dust. Do we think they go all the way back to the Empire of the Dawn, or are they somewhere in between, possibly?
Yeah, I mean, I suspect that they're after the Long Night, and that the Empire of the Dawn probably isn't, or maybe the Empire of the Dawn formed right after the Long Night. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the whole timeline is sort of deliberately ambiguous.
Yeah, that's your favorite word when it comes to the stories. Yeah. Sorry, I got off topic.
Yeah. The Carthines themselves seem sweet enough to my nose. Sweet smells are sometimes used to cover foul ones. My great bear, Dany thought. I'm his queen, but I will always be his cub as well. He will always guard me. Dany knows he's a creep and also recognizes his greatness.
Yeah.
She would have her own gardens, a marble bathing pool, a scrying tower, and warlock's maze. Slaves would tend her every need. So it's kind of interesting that Zaro gives her a warlock's maze.
Yeah. Just thought of something else. And then last night's live debate, it probably would have been better to do Cersei versus Dany than Cersei versus Marjorie, even though we lost. Because there's more information on Dany than there was on Marjorie.
Lizzie says the crow calls the raven black. Legitimately my favorite line to dramatically shriek at someone to really drive the point home. Last of the three seekers to depart was Quaithe, the Shadowbinder. From her, Dany received only a warning. Beware, the woman in the red lacquer mask said. Of whom? Of all that shall come day and night to see the wonder that has been born again into the world. And when they see, they shall lust, for dragons are fire made flesh, and fire is power. When Quaithe too was gone, Sir Jorah said, She speaks truly, my queen, though I like her no more than the others. I do not understand her. Piet and Zaro had showered Dany with promises from the moment they first glimpsed her dragons, declaring themselves her loyal servants in all things. But from Quaithe she'd gotten only the rare cryptic word, and it disturbed her that she had never seen the woman's face. Remember Miri Mazdur, she told herself. Remember treachery. Nobody understands the mother goddess. Jeffrey Lane says, Go Team Marge.
That hurts. That really, really hurts. Now I know you're on the Ashara Dane is Quaithe. I'm not convinced. I know the small hints of like the 7-pointed star that was in the Wolf's Den and stuff like that. I mean I tend to lean toward the Septimal more most of the time.
I feel like if you're going to buy the logic for Shadrick, then you're being told that Quaithe's eyes are literally the same shade as the Chardonnay's, right? Because the logic is that when he has this specific, unique characteristic that would point out the key hidden character. He has the person with that characteristic, in this case, red hair for Bran,
Right.
leave out the detail of the color of the red hair of Jojen, and say that Jojen looks like his father, right? So
Right.
they leave out the red hair, and they have the person with red hair, the POV with red hair, observe that, right?
Right.
And then you have the person with Ashara Dane's eyes tell us that Quaithe has unusual, quote, eyes wet and shiny, right?
Right.
So you know she has unusual eyes. You know they're laughing eyes. And based upon the pattern he's established, Dany should be the one who should see Ashara Dane's eyes and should comment on them being unusual and laughing and not tell us the color. And she does that.
Could Sierra Seastar fall in that category also?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there could be somebody else with the same purple eyes. That's possible.
Right.
But it's interesting that for me, it's the absence of eye color or logic. Time will tell. Yeah, but that's my point. That specifically, I would expect that if there's a Ashara Dane character, the person who ought to see her unusual eyes, tell her she has unusual eyes, and withhold the color should be Dany. And and in addition, we're specifically told that Ashara Dane is the shadow and the shadowy secret, right? And this is Quaithe of the Shadow, and Septa Lemore we're told is north of 40, and we know that Ashara Dane should be more like mid-30s, right? So I mean, just none of it really lines up as far as I can tell.
No problem.
All right. I just think that the actual textual clues of the shadow and the shadowy secret is kind of what sells me on it, in addition to the fact that she does have unusual laughing eyes.
Oh, trust me, I've been wrong about so many things. This is okay.
We will keep our own watch so long as we are here. See that no one enters this wing of the palace without my leave, and take care that the dragons are always well guarded. It shall be done, Khaleesi, Aggo said. We have seen only the parts of Qarth that Pyat wished us to see, she went on. Bakaro, go forth and look on the rest, and tell me what you find. Take good men with you, and women, to go places where men are forbidden. As you say, I do, blood of my blood, said Bakaro. So it feels like the show misread this book.
Yes.
We will keep our own watch so long as we are here. See that no one enters the wing of the palace without my leave, and take care that the dragons are always well guarded. Like, hello.
Well, that was my point on the debates that we cannot mix book and show facts, but I got overruled. So last night was book and show facts, and there are plenty that contradict. Where, like in the book, it proves my point, but in the show, it proves their point. But which point is more valid? So we made a decision, or Nettles made a decision for Ice and Firecon to do book only. Thankfully,
Okay.
I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean, that's what we were saying, is that the show is clearly right? The whole plot of the show is contradicted by this part of the book right here. Anyway.
I mean, even as close as book seasons 1, 2, and 3 are to the book, there are differences.
And 4,
yeah.
Since 3 and 4 are the third book. The book is the only valid point, says Lizzie.
Exactly. And in the book, Marjorie does not consummate any of her marriages. She's not a wife. Point for me. No, sorry.
Jeffrey says we should have defaulted to books over show.
I agree.
All right. Mormont hooked his thumbs through his sword belt. My place is here at your side. Jogo can guard me as well. You have more languages than my blood riders, and the Dothraki mistrust the sea and those who sail her. Only you can serve me in this. Go among the ships and speak to the crews. Learn where they are from and where they are bound and what manner of men command them. Reluctantly, the exile nodded. As you say, my queen. Dany is so good. Yes, I complain about people thinking Dany is purely good, but just because I see her flaws doesn't mean I don't absolutely love her.
Yeah, she's John is Ned Reborn, pure of heart type of character, good as gold. Dany is the next best thing to Jon Snow, but she has more flaws, which makes her more of a relatable character in my eyes.
Okay.
You see you see the slight flaws. Not that she's going mad queen or anything like that, but I mean, I think there's more gray area and more learning in Danny's story than in John's. He said,
He says, "Who do you guys want a Chardonnay to be?" That's interesting.
"Ooh, I wanted to be Settler more, but I mean, like I said, I've been wrong." So
I think I'd probably stick with Quaith. I just think it's important for her to. I don't know. I used to think Quaith should be Rayella because I don't think Rayella died giving birth to Danny. So now I've decided that Rayella maybe Rayella's dyeing her hair. I do think that Viserys and Rayella probably planned um, the phony backstory for Danny, right? And so I do think Viserys is totally aware of who Danny is and deliberately lying to her. And I think he
mhm.
has heavy incentive to continue to do that. Um, but somebody had to have worked with him to have him, to give the false backstory and so forth. And it seems like that would be Rayella. And
Yeah,
they may have agreed to split up to each go with one of the two triplets, right? And so Viserys going with Danny with Danny's big false backstory, and
mhm.
then maybe Rayella goes with and dyes her hair and goes with Griff. I don't know. I mean, it does feel like they should be coordinated, right? They
Yeah,
should. It's um, and obviously they're going to claim that Danny's birth was 9 months after the last time she was with the king, so they're going to claim that she was pregnant, but
well, that
I don't think
would
she was.
guarantee that Griff knows who Settler more is. I mean, he would be talking to his former queen, right?
Ah, that's a good point. Yeah, maybe he does. I mean, she definitely speaks as if they know she needs to hide.
Right. Well, he kind of
So
puts her in her place one time, saying, "I mean, I needed you to school him in the ways of the seven, but that's where uh, your important ends or something like that. I can't remember the wording."
yeah. I mean, I'd certainly be okay with her being a Chardonnay. And she. It feels like she has to be somebody that means something to us, right?
Right.
And somebody who has to hide. And so, and Griff knows that she's somebody who has to hide, so he knows that she's not what she appears.
Right. Well, I mean, I think we're too far in the story for all of a sudden for George to just suddenly pop in new characters that we haven't heard of,
I don't
and
know. I don't
all
know about
the
that.
he's
He's
got.
happy to break that tradition.
I'll have a talk with him about it.
That's part
I
of the
think
problem, right?
I think it's too late. I think that we're at the point now that all the clues and all the little stuff have to start paying off somewhere, and for him to pull somebody out of left field, and that's who Seth Lamore is, just
Yeah,
doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
yeah, like the White Fawn or something. Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
yeah. It just doesn't. It's not going to have nearly the same impact on the as a Shar or Rayella or something, right?
yeah, I like the Rayella. I mean, I hadn't thought about that. I think I remember you mentioning something about that
Yeah, I've
before,
mentioned
but
it once before. Yeah,
it didn't sink in. But I really like that one. That one kind of
yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense to me.
Well, it does feel like she should have been working with Viserys to form the false backstory. If Danny has a false backstory, which of course we obviously believe. Then Viserys should have been working with Rayella on that false backstory. So it makes sense if they wanted to split up to each take one of the triplets and so forth, right?
Yeah.
Danny had no wish to reduce King's. This is the most one of the most famous quotes in the book right here that people keep bringing up to say no. Anyway, Danny had no wish to reduce King's Landing to a blackened ruin full of unquiet ghosts. She had supped enough on tears. I want to make my kingdom beautiful, to fill it with fat men and pretty maids and laughing children. I want my people to smile when they see me ride by, the way Viserys said they smiled for my father. But before she could do that, she must conquer. The usurper will kill you, sure as sunrise, Mormont had said. Robert had slain her gallant brother Rhaegar, and one of his creatures had crossed the Dothraki Sea to poison her and her unborn son. They said Robert Baratheon was strong as a bull and fearless in battle, men who loved nothing better than war. And with him stood the great lords her brother had named the usurper's dogs. Cold-eyed Eddard Stark with his frozen heart, and the golden Lannisters, father and son, so rich, so powerful, so treacherous. How could she hope to overthrow such men? Danny definitely does not have all the information.
No.
Anyway, it's like,
Legend
people love
says,
that quote.
yes, a nice calm talk with George. Sharpen your pitchforks. Hell yeah, burn them all.
Oh, and the way Viserys said they smiled for my father. Let's not talk. uh, the way Viserys said they smiled for my father. Remember, they never list her father's name when doing so, unless doing so would make it sound less like her father. And Viserys said they smiled for my father. Yeah,
Yeah,
yes, they
they
did.
smile for Rhaegar, not for the Mad King. Yeah, that
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you point things
yeah.
out like that, it just kind of blows my mind.
Yep. Anyway, I bring you Kahor Mo, captain of the Cinnamon Wind, out of Tall Trees Town. The black man knelt. I am greatly honored, my queen, he said, not in the tongue of the Summer Isles, which Dany did not know, but in the liquid Valerian of the Nine Free Cities. The honor is mine, Kahor Mo, said Dany in the same language. Have you come from the Summer Isles? This is so, your grace. Before, not half a year past, we called it Old Town. From there I bring you a wondrous gift. A gift? A gift of news. Dragon Mother? Stormborn? I tell you true. Robert Baratheon is dead. Outside her walls, dusk was settling over Karth, but a sun had risen in Dany's heart. Dead? She repeated. In her lap, black Drogon hissed and pale smoke rose before her face like a veil. You are certain the usurper is dead? So it is said in Old Town, and Dorne, and Lys, and all the other ports where we have called. He sent me poisoned wine, yet I live and he is gone. What was the manner of his death? On her shoulder, pale Viserion flapped wings the color of cream, stirring the air. Torn by a monstrous boar whilst hunting in the Kingswood, or so I heard in Old Town. Others say his queen betrayed him, or his brother, or Lord Stark, who was his hand. Yet all the tales agree in this: King Robert is dead and in his grave. Kahoro Mo understands what information is reliable and valuable, and what is not.
Yep. The
The voice. Yeah, go ahead.
I know it's mentioned that Danny's control over the dragons, especially Drogon, wavers from time to time, and that the dragon binder horn that Viserion is bringing her is going to help. I'm not so sure. I think
Oh
that
yeah.
we see Drogon, like just now, reacting to her emotions instantaneously. It's when Dany does not act like a dragon herself is when her bond with Drogon wavers. As long as she's being a dragon, a Targaryen, Aegon the Conqueror, reborn, her bond with Drogon seems pretty damn solid. Um, it's like at the very end of the books, after she has her dream and the ants and the miscarriage, whatever happens, there's a change in her again, like there was a change when she rode silver for the first time. That change brought Drogon back to her. So she's no longer the small child that is Dany. She is Daenerys Targaryen, the dragon reborn, and Drogon responds to that. So I think I know House of the Dragon, man, but
She's being a little bit too wolf, too icy death,
right, right,
howling
right,
forever
right,
alone in the darkness, and
right.
not enough fire dragon. Yeah, I'll buy
Yeah,
that.
sorry.
No, no, I like that because I mean it was Adam. I forget his full name, but there's the great the Marinese is it Marinese blot? Oh my god. Anyway, the great blog that talks through the joining during lunch, says the Valonqar. Excellent. Um, so Adam has that great. In fact, I think George even said this guy gets it right. He has that great analysis of dance, and he says that it's really about Dany choosing the path of peace and not being satisfied with it with his dar and
Mhm.
doing everything right and brilliantly. Liz has loved that. It's like that's It's doing everything right,
Mhm.
and you could say that the path of peace is sort of the Stark way, right? It's choosing the lone wolf, the icy death, howling forever alone in the darkness
Mhm.
option, right?
Yeah.
It's not satisfying, but it's arguably the right path. And then she has to embrace her dragon side, right?
Right. Well, I mean, it might have got pointed out last night, or it might have got overlooked when comparing like Cersei to Marjorie. Um, if you look at Dany as both Cersei and Marjorie, not ex extreme Cersei, but Cersei, uh, Marjorie for this world that George has wrote is too nice, which is not going to prepare her for Fagon or prepare her for Dany or all the shit that's about to happen. Um, Cersei's too far to the extreme, but the if she'd made different choices and better choices and trusted her small council more, um, she's cut from a rough enough cloth for this world, even though she screws it all up. Uh, there's the two sides of Dany. You got the Jorah's cub versus Drogon's dragon rider. I mean, if she stays Jorah's cub, then nothing's going to work out right for her. That's not what this world it needs. This world doesn't respond to a cub. I mean, just like 300 years ago, they responded to Aegon the Conqueror. So um, Dany needs to embrace that Aegon Conqueror side, that Aegon Conqueror blood that runs through her veins to get what she wants, to get where she needs to be. So, I mean, she needs to kill the girl and let the woman live.
Well, they both have certainly both of those queens have the same problem in that they're being deliberately driven paranoid by prophecy.
Yeah. All right. Sorry.
Yeah, well, that's good. The boy sits the Iron Throne now, Sir Jorah said. King Joffrey reigns, Coromo agreed, but the Lannisters rule. Robert's brothers have fled King's Landing. The talk is they mean to claim the crown, and the hand has fallen. Lord Stark, who was King Robert's friend, has been seized for treason. Ned Stark a traitor? Sir Jorah snorted. Not bloody likely. A long summer will come again before that one would besmirch his precious honor. Surely Ned wouldn't be dishonorable. He executes an oath breaker at the beginning of these books, so we know he couldn't possibly be an oath breaker. He judges Jaime for breaking his oath. There couldn't be any irony in these books.
Irony is lost on me.
By what right does the wolf judge the lion? Anyway,
I just watched that yesterday. That is my favorite scene in the entire show of A Game of Thrones is the bath scene. And Nicholas, whatever his name is.
And that irony is so much more delicious if you think that Ned literally did the same thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, that is, oh man, that's such a good scene. Sorry.
You have brought me a precious gift. I have been amply repaid, great queen. She puzzled at that. How so? His eyes gleamed. I have seen dragons. Dany laughed. And we'll see more of them one day, I hope. Come to me in King's Landing when I am on my father's throne. You shall have a great reward. Summer Islander promised he would do so and kissed her lightly on the fingers as he took his leave. So there's some foreshadowing yet to pay off.
There you go.
Sometimes he thinks of me as a child he must protect, and sometimes as a woman he would like to bed. Does he ever truly see me as his queen? I am not the frightened girl you met in Pentos. I've counted only 15 name days, true, but I am as old as the crones in the Dosh Kaleen and as young as my dragons, Jorah. I've borne a child, burned a cowl, and crossed the red way to the Thraki Sea. Mine is the blood of the dragon. As was your brother's, he said stubbornly. I am not Viserys. No, he admitted. There was more of Rhaegar in you, I think, but even Rhaegar could be slain. Robert proved that on the Trident, with no more than a warhammer. Even dragons can die. Dragons die, she stood on her toes to kiss him lightly on an unshaven cheek. But so do dragon slayers. There's Rhaegar and Lyanna in her. See Triple Targaryens episode 4. Bran 4 is next. Bran receives a prophecy.
That there is more of Rhaegar in you is just, I mean, I know you point them out every time, but now that you pointed out so many of those little wordings or phrases that George used, that it's like big giant red flags. I mean, I know
As I
people.
said, he's got 5 times where he mentions he's got 5 times where he mentions Aries in Danish chapters, and twice where he mentions Rayella, and every single time it would be somewhat more natural to have said something like her father or your father, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And by doing the name instead, it ties them less to her as her parents. It's almost impossible to read Dany's chapters and come away thinking that Ares is her father. The further we go, there are so many crumbs dropped, it's impossible to keep count.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, with George also, you got to pay attention to the couple of crumbs, the 2 or 3. Well, he likes to do things in threes, but I mean, if it's not every damn chapter he says it, he says it once in this book. He says it once in this next book. He says it once. I mean, he says it 3 times, but they're books apart.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones that are the hardest to find, and I think mean a hell of a lot more than people give them credit for. But I mean, on this subject, I mean, like I said, since you pointed it out, it's just my eyes just get really big every time I read something like that.
Yeah, my favorite is still the Jorah one. I mean the Barristan one where Barristan where she goes, there's some good to be said of my father, surely, and he goes, he goes, there is of him and those who came before him, Rhaegar most of all, and it's like, so Rhaegar is your father or somebody who came before him, and the primary answer to your question, really? That's
my favorite is Darth Vader.
Yeah, the Darth Vader one's really good too.
Yeah, that's freaking hilarious. I mean,
yeah.
But all right, the next is brand 4. You good for Friday? I should still be good. I'm feeling better.
Yeah, I think so.
Try to get back on track.
Glad you're feeling better.
Yeah, it was kind of sucky there for a while. My throat still gets sore. I still go through coughing spells, breathing treatments, all that kind of crap. But I'm ready for ice and fire. So I mean, one way or the other, my ass will be at calm.
Monday was your son. Your son was sick though, not you, right?
Yeah, he was.
How's your son doing?
He's doing pretty good. He convinced his mother that he was feeling good enough to go to the bouncy house place yesterday, and ended up paying for it when he got home because for not feeling good and using up all that energy at the bouncy house place, he just walked around. My back hurts, my feet hurts, my hand hurts. Hold me, I don't feel good. It just, oh my goodness. From the time I got off the live stream last night till probably 11 o'clock last night, he was so far up my butt it wasn't even funny. But
so apparently Lemongate is magic for controlling Lizzie's weather somehow.
There you go. But yeah, I cannot wait. The week that Ice and FireCon starts, that Monday probably be the only one that episode I'll be able to do because I'll be spiraling trying to get ready. Excuse me. But all right, you got anything else?
And yeah, of course the Monday after I'll probably still be driving home. So
yeah, well, yeah, Monday I'll be driving home too that day because I'll be leaving like 6 in the morning. The truth is out there, Lizzie. Yes, there is. You got anything else?
No, I think that's good.
Lizzie was on fire last night. Let me go ahead and tell you, Lizzie is she reminds me of me at 25. Her brain is just so damn fast and so funny. It's ridiculous. We appreciate it, Valencar. If you can, check out the Girl Nettles YouTube channel. We did a live stream, live debate in preparation for Ice of FireCon last night. It's kind of funny. We lost.
I'll check it out.
But we had a blast. It's pretty long though. It's like 2.5 hours. But that's it. We will see y'all on Friday with brand 4. Everybody that joined today, we appreciate it. Lady Thistle, I know you're busy, but we appreciate you judging last night. You did an awesome job, even though you voted against me. I won't hold it against you. maybe. And we will see y'all Friday. Everybody have a I appreciate it, Valcar. I will see everybody on Friday, and thank y'all. I had a blast. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.